between 2002 and 2007, the Central Intelligence Agency waterboards prisoners, locks them in boxes the size of coffins, and keeps them awake for days until they hallucinate. Dozens of people are involved. Psychologists design the techniques. Officers carry them out. Directors authorize every session. One man orders 92 videotapes of the interrogations destroyed. When it's over, the United States government sends exactly one person to federal prison. His name is John Kiriakou. He never tortured anyone. He is the CIA officer who told the American public it was happening. The people who designed the program received $81 million. Kiriakou received 30 months in a cell. This is how a government punishes honesty. March 2002. 6 months after the towers fall, the CIA is tearing the world apart, looking for names. Every lead matters. Every tip gets run down. The agency has never operated at this tempo before. And inside the counterterrorism division, one officer has spent 14 years preparing for exactly this kind of moment. John Kiriakou speaks Arabic. He has worked undercover in the Middle East. He is not a desk analyst reviewing satellite footage in a windowless room. He is the kind of officer the CIA sends when they need someone in the field, face to face, where the stakes are personal. And in March 2002, the stakes are as personal as they get. Intelligence points to a safe house in Faisalabad, Pakistan. Inside, according to multiple sources, is Abu Zubaydah, a man the US government considers one of the highest-ranking operatives in al-Qaeda's network. Logistics coordinator, recruiter, gatekeeper. Kiriakou is part of the team tasked with taking him alive. The raid launches before dawn. Multiple locations across the city hit simultaneously. Pakistani security forces working alongside CIA officers. Kiriakou's team takes the lead compound. Chaos, gunfire, shouting, bodies moving through dark corridors. Abu Zubaydah tries to escape across a rooftop. He is shot 3 times. He falls. He doesn't die. That part is critical. The CIA needs Abu Zubaydah breathing. He is, at this moment, the most valuable human being on Earth to American intelligence. Every question the agency has about al-Qaeda's network, its cells, its next attack. They believe this man holds the answers. Kiriakou's team keeps him alive. Medics stabilize him. He is airlifted out of Pakistan within hours. "We got him," Kiriakou reports back. And for a brief window of time, those 3 words mean everything. Back at Langley, John Kiriakou is a hero. Commendations follow. Handshakes. The quiet gratitude of an agency desperate for wins in a war defined by confusion and fear. This is the peak of his career, and it is the last time the CIA will consider him one of their own. Because the man Kiriakou helped capture doesn't go to a military prison. He doesn't go to Guantanamo. Clock is ticking, and the FBI's lead interrogator, a man named Ali Soufan, is in the room using traditional rapport-building techniques, and it's working. Soufan speaks Arabic. He builds a relationship with Abu Zubaydah. He gets names. He gets operational details. He identifies Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as the mastermind of 9/11. Information extracted without a single raised hand. But for certain people at CIA headquarters, rapport takes too long. They want something harder, something faster, something that guarantees results, or at least feels like it does. Enter James Mitchell and Bruce Jessen, 2 psychologists, not interrogators, not field operatives, not intelligence officers, psychologists. Their specialty is a military training program called SEER, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. SEER prepares American soldiers and pilots to withstand enemy torture if captured. Mitchell and Jessen are the men who study how humans break under extreme stress. The CIA's proposal is elegant in its perversion. Take the men who understand how to resist torture and ask them to design it. Neither Mitchell nor Jessen has ever conducted a real interrogation. Neither has worked in the field. Neither speaks Arabic. Neither has any background in al-Qaeda, Islamic extremism, or counterterrorism. None of that matters. By the spring of 2002, they have a menu. Waterboarding, controlled drowning, where water is poured over a cloth covering the prisoner's face until the body believes it is dying. Walling, slamming a prisoner into a specially constructed flexible wall, over and over. Confinement boxes, locking a human being inside a space the size of a coffin, sometimes for hours. Stress positions, facial slaps, sleep deprivation, up to 11 consecutive days. They call these enhanced interrogation techniques. Abu Zubaydah is the first. In August 2002 alone, he is waterboarded 83 times. 83. In 1 month. Ali Soufan, the FBI interrogator who had been producing results through conversation, is pulled from the case. He walks out in disgust. Years later, he will testify before Congress that the traditional approach was generating actionable intelligence before the CIA replaced conversation with water. Meanwhile, Mitchell and Jessen incorporate. They form a company. They receive a government contract that will eventually be worth $81 million to design, implement, and oversee a program built on techniques reverse-engineered from a training course meant to protect American soldiers. Somewhere in the middle of all this, someone turns to John Kiriakou. They asked if I wanted to be trained in enhanced interrogation techniques, he will say years later. I said no. No press conference, no dramatic confrontation, just a man saying he doesn't want to be in that room. It is the quietest, most consequential decision of his life. He doesn't know it yet, but that refusal, and everything that follows, will cost him everything he has. For 5 years, America's secret stays behind the walls of black sites scattered across the globe. The tapes roll, the water pours, the contractors bill, until one man decides the silence has lasted long enough. 2004. Kiriakou leaves the CIA. He doesn't leave in protest. He doesn't write a manifesto or call a journalist. He walks away from a career that no longer resembles the one he signed up for. He takes private sector work. He has a family. He tries to build something quieter. But the secret doesn't stay buried. By 2007, rumors about the CIA's interrogation program have been circulating for years. Journalists are digging. Congressional staffers are asking questions. The word waterboarding is entering the American vocabulary, but no one who was inside the program has confirmed it on the record. Not yet. In December 2007, ABC News journalist Brian Ross reaches out to Kiriakou. He wants an interview, on camera, about what the CIA did to prisoners after 9/11. Kiriakou agrees. Think about what that means. A 14-year CIA veteran, a man trained in secrecy, bound by oaths, surrounded by colleagues who will never forgive what he is about to do, sits down in front of a television camera and says what no one inside the US government has ever said publicly. Yes, the CIA waterboarded prisoners. It happened. It was policy. He becomes the first US official to confirm the program's existence on camera. The interview is measured, calm. Kiriakou doesn't shout or cry or pound the table. He speaks like a man who has carried something heavy for a long time and has decided, finally, to set it down. We're Americans, he tells the camera, and we're better than this. But there is one detail he gets wrong. He tells Brian Ross that Abu Zubaydah was waterboarded once, and that it produced immediate, valuable intelligence. He says this because that is what colleagues told him. Kiriakou was never present for the interrogations. He is repeating what the CIA let him believe. The truth is worse. Abu Zubaydah was not waterboarded once. He was waterboarded 83 times. The intelligence it produced was not immediate or uniquely valuable. The FBI had been getting similar or better information through conversation before the CIA pushed Ali Soufan out of the room and replaced rapport with water. Kiriakou exposed the program, thinking it was a brutal but limited measure. What he actually pulled back the curtain on was something far more systematic, far more prolonged, and far less effective than anyone inside the agency had admitted. Overnight, he becomes the face of America's torture debate. Op-eds, cable news panels, congressional hearings cite his testimony. Some call him a patriot, others call him a traitor. Inside Langley, the reaction is simpler. The CIA doesn't see a patriot who told the truth. It doesn't see a traitor who endangered national security. It sees a man who broke the silence, a man who proved the wall of secrecy can crack, and the agency knows exactly which law to use to make sure no one ever does it again. Here is what the United States government cannot do. Prosecute John Kiriakou for exposing torture. That would require putting torture itself on trial. It would demand evidence, testimony, details, the very things the government has spent years classifying, redacting, and destroying. A public courtroom proceeding about Kiriakou's disclosure would become a public courtroom proceeding about America's interrogation program. And that is something no administration, not Bush's, not Obama's, is willing to allow. So they find another way. During the course of his public advocacy after the interview, Kiriakou confirms the identity of a covert CIA officer to a journalist who is working with defense attorneys representing Guantanamo detainees. It is a genuine mistake. Kiriakou will later acknowledge he should not have shared the name. But the charge the Department of Justice files is not improper disclosure. It is not an administrative reprimand. It is not a fine. They charge him under the Espionage Act, the same statute written to prosecute spies who sell American secrets to foreign governments, the same law used against people who betray their country for money, ideology, or coercion. John Kiriakou, a man who spent 14 years serving his country, who led the raid that captured one of its most wanted enemies, who refused to participate in torture and then told the public it was happening, is prosecuted under a law designed for traitors. The maximum penalty is 45 years. Now look at the scoreboard. Jose Rodriguez, director of the CIA's Counterterrorism Center. In 2005, he orders the destruction of 92 videotapes documenting the interrogation of Abu Zubaydah and Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri. These tapes are visual evidence of what the CIA did inside its black sites. Federal courts and congressional committees have demanded their preservation. Rodriguez orders them shredded anyway. The Department of Justice investigates. Their conclusion: insufficient evidence to prosecute. The evidence was on the tapes he destroyed. James Mitchell and Bruce Jesson, the architects of the entire program. Two psychologists who reverse-engineered a military resistance course into a torture manual, who watched as prisoners were waterboarded and slammed and confined and deprived of sleep for days. Their government contract, $81 million. Their criminal consequence, nothing. The ACLU sues on behalf of 3 victims. The case settles. No admission of wrongdoing. Mitchell and Jesson retire. The CIA officers who physically held men underwater, who slammed them into walls, who locked them in coffin-sized boxes. Not one of them prosecuted. Protected by Department of Justice legal memos granting retroactive immunity. The leadership who authorized the program at the highest levels of government, not prosecuted. And then there is John Kiriakou, facing 45 years. His lawyers advise him to take a plea deal. Fighting the full charges at trial means years of legal battle, possible decades in prison, and financial devastation for a family with 5 children. He pleads guilty to a single count. The sentence, 30 months in federal prison. His career is over. His pension is gone. His security clearance revoked. His family will spend the next 2.5 years visiting their father behind bars. They didn't charge me with talking about torture, Kiriakou says. That would have meant admitting torture happened in a court of law. They charged me with espionage. The message wasn't subtle. It wasn't meant to be. The message isn't just for Kiriakou. It is for every intelligence officer, every analyst, every contractor who might one day look at what their government is doing in the dark and consider turning on the lights. The punishment is not for the act. The punishment is for the speech. February 28, 2013. John Kiriakou walks through the gates of the Federal Correctional Institution in Loretto, Pennsylvania. He is 50 years old. He is inmate number 79637-083. From inside, he writes letters to his 5 children, essays for any outlet willing to publish them. He becomes, from behind bars, a symbol of something larger than his own case, the widening pattern of American administrations wielding espionage laws against whistleblowers while shielding the very conduct those whistleblowers exposed. He serves his 30 months. He walks out in 2015 to a country that has largely moved on. But the numbers haven't changed. James Mitchell and Bruce Jesson, $81 million, retired, no criminal record. Jose Rodriguez, destroyed 92 tapes of evidence, retired with full government pension, published a memoir called Hard Measures, gave television interviews defending the program he helped conceal. The CIA officers who carried out enhanced interrogation, shielded by legal memos, no charges filed. Their names remain classified to this day. John Kiriakou, 30 months in federal prison, a felony on his record, no pension, no clearance, 5 children who grew up visiting their father through security glass. The message to the intelligence community was very clear, Kiriakou says after his release. We will not prosecute torture. We will prosecute people who talk about torture. In December 2014, the Senate Intelligence Committee releases what becomes known as the Torture Report. Over 6,000 pages, 500 in the executive summary alone. It finds that the CIA's enhanced interrogation program was significantly less effective than the agency claimed. It finds that the CIA repeatedly misled Congress, the White House, and the American public about the program's results. It finds that prisoners subjected to these techniques often fabricated information, saying anything, everything, to make it stop. Everything John Kiriakou tried to tell the world in 2007, confirmed, in writing, by the United States Senate. Nobody goes to prison for that either. And then there is Abu Zubaydah, the man Kiriakou helped capture in that raid in Faisalabad, the first human subject of Mitchell and Jessen's program. Waterboarded 83 times in a single month, confined, deprived, broken in ways that no government report will ever fully describe. He is still in Guantanamo Bay, right now, as you listen to this. He has never been charged with a crime, he has never stood trial, and he almost certainly never will. Not because there is nothing to charge him with, but because a trial would require the United States government to enter into evidence what was done to him. The techniques, the duration, the frequency, the tapes that no longer exist, the black sites whose locations remain classified. Abu Zubaydah cannot be freed. He has seen too much of what America did. He cannot be tried. A trial would show the world the same thing. He exists in a space beyond law, not prisoner in any traditional sense. Not defendant, not free. A man held indefinitely because releasing him would confirm everything the government spent 2 decades denying. The torturers are retired. The architects collected $81 million. The tapes are ash. The Senate report gathers dust. The prisoner sits in his cell. And the only man who told the truth carries a felony on his record. John Kiriakou served his time. Abu Zubaydah is still serving his. If you're still here, you already understand why this story matters. The question is, who else needs to hear it? Share this with one person. And if this is your first time on this channel, subscribe. There are more stories the system would rather you never hear. This won't be the last one.